Well, greetings all around this world. My name is Anthony, and welcome to Paneling 101. I told them I just wanted a very small room. I do not know why they gave us this big of a room, but now we're all spaced out, and now we all can stretch out and move around as much as you want, so feel free to do as such. We are still waiting for our business operation manager, Michael. He was running just a little bit late. Unfortunately, he had to commute, so he wasn't able to be here right away, but he should be here shortly. He also has the pens, of course. Before we get started, we do have handouts here at the front. One is a panel pitch worksheet, and then one is also a panel planning checklist. So they're free for you right up here in the front, so feel free to come grab them. You can do them during the panel if you want, or you can take them home when you're planning for yourself or for any other con. We'll also have opportunity to, if you want to share your ideas with us, kind of get some in real-time feedback. We'd be more than happy to talk over things with you. But also, I don't want this panel to be everyone here listening to me talk. I want this to be more engaging and interactive. So if at any point you have questions, you don't have to wait till the end. Please just ask your questions when they come up, and I'd love to just keep this as more of an open discussion instead of me talking at you. More engaging and interactive, the better. All right, so for our agenda, things that we're going to go over through this panel, we're going to talk about, we're going to explain who we are, who Quest Bros are, why am I the one up here qualified to be up here talking about this. We'll also, of course, explain what a panel is, why panels, finding out what makes yours unique, how to build your panel, and then going through the whole application process, presentation skills, engaging with the audience, even then doing promotion and networking, and then if we should still have time at the end. If you have any questions, feel free to ask at the end if you want to wait, but again, feel free to ask during the presentation at any time. So a quick introduction. My name is Anthony, and we are a part of Quest Bros. We got some more Quest Bros in the back, or if Michael is still coming. But we are an entertainment company. We're officially Quest Bros LLC at this year, so we actually, it's a brand new thing. And I am the president and creative director for it. Oh, there he is. Just in the nick of time. There's Michael. Hello. Welcome. Yep. And great segue. This is Michael. He is our business operation manager.
Hello.
So Michael helps us with a lot. Helps me specifically a lot with the business side of things. Whether if it is just contacting other conventions, helping me write out emails, making sure things sound professional. Is also a good person for me to bounce ideas off. Bounce ideas off of too, so it is not just me, because there's a lot of times where I can get tunnel vision. Jared, can you pass some of these out?
Oh, yes.
Sometimes I can get tunnel vision, or sometimes it's just nice to have someone to bounce ideas off of. Sorry. Our paneling background though, so we actually started here at Anime Milwaukee. Actually, show of hands, did anybody go to Improv D&D at all? Oh great, so almost all of you. So yeah, we started here at Anime Milwaukee about 7 or 8 years ago as a fan panel doing Improv D&D, and throughout the years it slowly just grew and more, and we just kept refining it and making it what we wanted to be. And now this year at Anime Milwaukee, we were actually a main stage headlining program. On Friday we were on the main stage, but even this panel right now and yesterday's Improv D&D is still considered main programming, which doesn't make sense, but it's great to hear. Thank you. So that's why we wanted to share our story and also share the journey that we've been on and our tips and tricks, because a lot of success stories we hear is people that just kind of got lucky, but for us it took time and energy and strategy to get to it.
I mean, yeah, because you hear that answer from people a lot, that, oh yeah, we just got this one lucky break and now we're like good, but that's not really helpful for anyone that's actually trying to get into anything.
So yeah, we think our story is actually at least something that people can relate to and actually follow, and hopefully that's something you'll be able to get out of today. So yeah, I mean, Improv D&D, we started at 50 seats, and now it was main, and then it went up to 500 in main stage events, and it started from nothing. But the key takeaway is that it takes time. This isn't something that's just going to happen overnight. So I know sometimes people want things to happen fast, but trust me, it takes time. Just more examples. There's us, Fan Expo, Amp Key last year, C2E2. huge crowds and stuff. And also, we might also be able to help you too. We were able to moderate panels with celebrity voice actors. So you see Michael on the bottom here with the cast, and Jared with the cast of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure Part 5, and then me and Dan up with the three gentlemen. It was technically a Hunter x Hunter panel. I always think about it as a Persona 5 panel, but we were able to, because of our ability to do these larger scale things, the conventions have granted us the ability to do moderating with celebrity panels as well. So starting, why panels? Why we started hosting panels? I mean, we started because, I mean, like you come to all these conventions, you see something that you like, and sometimes it's, oh, I think I could do something like that. And that's where you get your ideas. You kind of either brainstorm from someone else's idea, or you have something that's maybe completely brand new. And I will say Improv D&D isn't 100% original from us. We saw a panel that was a drunk guy by himself trying to do something and make it up on the spot. And then over time we're like, okay, we could definitely do that and refine it and make it into something that's actually more organized and structured. And now it's not even anything like what the original panel was, but we were able to turn that into something. Why we keep doing it, though, I mean, we love it. We love the engagement, we love the community, and for those who were at Improv D&D last night, especially, like, you saw how crazy and wild the crowd gets, and we feed off of you guys. But then also, why do panels matter for a community and for fandoms? Like, we're already at this convention to come together and find like-minded people, and now if you're able to find a little bit more niche topic, you're now able to bring those people together even more on a more specific topic and connect that way. Or even just, I mean, everyone has something that if I get them to start talking about it, you're just gonna keep going. Jared, do you wanna talk about Star Wars right now?
Oh boy, do I.
Yeah, see, if you find that one topic that you're very passionate about, I'm sure there's other people out there that are also very passionate about it. If anyone would like to do, does anyone have an idea of a panel that they wanted to host but they've never done it yet? Would you like to share?
I have this idea of who in Shonen Jump can be killed by the Death Note?
Who can be killed by the Death Note in Shonen Jump? Okay, yeah, see, and that's great. So now you get a lot of people that are already into that type of thing. Or you get the people that are like me, who are huge Dragon Ball fans. I'm like, there's the panel that's like, who can be Goku? And I'm like, no one can be Goku.
A heart
Like,
attack can be Goku.
yeah, yeah. But there's stuff like that. So you definitely can find opportunities for that. Did anyone else want to share any ideas? Yeah, go for it.
I've been wanting to talk about this character who goes by the name of Rolling, and he's also called the Mystical Man. I've been thinking about doing a panel like that and explaining to people like who exactly he is.
Sure. Yeah.
And I couldn't even talk about this guy here. He's a psychic. He's an artist.
Sure. Yeah, see, so and that's a more niche topic too, which is really nice because then you kind of stay away from some people that get really broad, and that.
That's my report.
Yeah, and that's great. Okay. Then, oh yeah, you want to share?
Yeah, I would. The other one I haven't done yet is I could do like. So you want to be like a VTuber fan?
Sure.
That'd be what I would pitch.
Yeah, to get people into VTubers and understand that.
Yeah.
Yeah, because there is a stigma with it, and so just being able to get rid of that stigma and also explaining what that is, that'd be great.
You know, there's always something for somebody.
Yeah.
Here's like different.
Yeah, there's hundreds of VTubers too. For sure. Yeah, that's great. So has anyone here already hosted a panel before?
Oh,
Awesome. Okay, great. All right, so let's get into building the panel for maybe those who don't have any panel experience or want to start one, or maybe if you have one and you want to start again. Sorry, I gotta switch. Also, for people that just came in, we have handouts at the front. If you would like handouts, it's a panel checklist for starting it, and it's also a worksheet for like panel pitching.
So, although it may be kind of an obvious question, but what is a panel? So, a panel, a scheduled block of time at a convention where you will speak about a specific topic that you either want to talk about, or maybe host like an event or some sort of like entertainment show like we do. But really, the sky's the limit. Your imagination, whatever you can pitch, if you will, you can do it by yourself or with people. It really doesn't matter. I've seen it done all sorts of different ways.
Just be aware though, if you do it by yourself, you got to do all the heavy lifting. But if you do it with a group, you can split the load at least with some people.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And generally speaking, I see panels usually in two different veins, and that's most of them I see are informative panels, breaking down a game or a character from a show or something like that. But there are some that are just strictly for entertainment and just kind of use the love of the fandom to kind of propel that entertainment.
Sure. Yeah. An example too, Improv D&D is an entertainment style panel. You get people together. We went to Colossus North, and there was Nami eats a pound of king crab legs in a Victorian style bathtub. And like, there's stuff like that, and it's just an entertainment show. You're not going into that, you're not going to learn something. But then you come to a panel like this, and it's more of a learning type of workshop style thing.
Yeah, and so like even as a kind of example for like our panel with Improv D&D, it's a comedy show, and it has D&D aspects to it, but it is distinctly not.
It's not. It's technically it's not D&D.
It's not really D&D. So that's kind of one of those things where even if there's a pre-established thing with the fandom topic that you're covering, you have plenty agency to just kind of do whatever you want with it. Speaking of,
Yes.
whatever you want.
So yeah, exactly. You need to find your idea, of course. So you need to, of course, establish what is your panel about. And I think one of the most important things is what is your goal for the panel? If you don't have a goal, if you don't have an objective that you want out of your panel, then it's going to be hard for you to either measure your success or even for your audience to understand what even their goal is. So Improv D&D, and we're going to be referencing it a lot because that's what we do. Our goal has always been, especially just Quest Bros in general, it's just been building a community and bringing people together. So we like to, of course, get as many people in the door as much as possible to share that love and experience with everyone together. But then, of course, then there's a little bit of other mini goals within there if it's just connecting specific, introducing people to Dungeons and Dragons and the concept of it, or if it is just to entertain someone. It can be very specific, it can be very broad, but just making sure you have something is honestly key to it, because if you don't have anything, then I think you're also going to get lost in it.
Yeah, if you don't have any kind of goal in mind, it can kind of be unfocused, and so it can kind of get a little like rambly and disorganized, and so people might be a little bit confused as to what the takeaway ultimately is. I mean, if you're covering a very niche topic, you're most likely, like what I would think to do if I was covering something very niche, would be to pitch it as like a introduction to that thing to try to get more people interested in it. So I would tailor it with that in mind. I pick like interesting key facts or something like that. I pick the most interesting aspects of the topic, or character or show or whatever. That's kind of what I would think for that sort of thing.
And then, of course, your audience's takeaway. What do you want? What do they want from it?
Exactly.
Today, we want you guys to feel maybe more comfortable about how to run a panel, or confident in the skills to do it, or at least have some type of knowledge. Or maybe you network within someone here. You come talk to us, and now you have a little bit more experience or a little bit more comfortability to go on, or to at least share your information with someone. Or it could be something as, you just want people to have fun. And that's great. There's nothing wrong with having something as simple as that. But as long as you're at least trying then to do that, then that's great. Then you know, and then the audience knows, we're here to have fun, and that's the purpose. Of course, also you need to make sure your topic fits with the con and fandom. If this was a con about fishing, I don't think this panel would really make sense. Improv D&D would not make sense at a convention about fishing. But if you go to, like, we go to conventions like,
Takes place in a Max approach.
there you go, it takes place in the back porch.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of one of those things, it's kind of interesting, because it's like D&D isn't really related to, like, anime. So, like, we're doing a D&D panel at an anime convention. So I take that with just a grain of salt, because it's like you can do panels that are not on topic for the convention.
But it's
as long as
knowing,
people are like if people think it's fun, because like the other aspect of this too, and we'll get into this a little bit later, is that you're not just pitching the con or like the panel for the con, like the con goers, you're also pitching it to the organizers as well. So if it is something like this convention, I want to do a fishing panel, I have a strong suspicion that they would probably not be interested in.
but if you talk about fishing in anime, fishing in video games or something like that.
Well, right, there you go.
It is.
There you go. Yeah, you can put a spin on it. And that,
Yeah.
yeah, right. Exactly. Yeah.
But then also understanding the fandoms and the convention goers too. Like,
Yeah.
we understand that there's a lot of overlap between anime, video games, and Dungeons and Dragons. There's a lot of people that go there. There's a lot of voice actors that do professional Dungeons and Dragons in Critical Role, or if it is in literally anything else. And they're also in anime and in other things. So there's a commonality there.
Yeah, it's kind of like the crossover of like fantasy and sort of like fictional entertainment, that it kind of makes for a good crossover, because I mean generally in our experience, anime fans fucking love D&D and love improv. So I mean here at anime conventions we always seem to have a really good time with it. So.
It is
Right,
adjacent,
yeah, exactly. That's a good word for it. Adjacent.
So then identifying what makes your panel unique. You always need a hook of some type of thing. Is it game? Is your thing? Is your panel related to games? Are you gonna have games that you're playing? Are you entertaining and offering games there? Are you gonna have visuals, even if it is just up on screen? Is there a PowerPoint, or are you gonna have more? I don't know. You could have dancers or something like that if you have a dancing style panel. Sometimes people will be in character up on stage. I think I've been to a Critical Role one where the people on stage are acting as people from one of the campaigns, and they're doing whatever with it. Try to find that hook that makes it unique instead of it just being, I know we're kind of contradicting ourselves where we say like some of the panels that are just up here talking to people might not be as engaging as others. But if you can find those extra hooks and things, I mean, even now we try to offer you guys handouts and stuff like that, just to make things at least a little bit different than others. And again, if you don't have a handout, there's handouts up at the front, come check them out. Also too, again, if anyone has any questions about anything, feel free to ask at any point. You don't have to wait till the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Also, maybe try to avoid overdone topics unless you've given it a twist. I don't mean to call anyone out that might have been doing this weekend, but I know on Friday there were two panels almost back to back that were like hear me out panels, and there's nothing wrong with that, and they could just come down to the scheduling and what they were available for. But if you have a panel, if you have the first hear me out one in the night, and there's one an hour after it, people might not go to that, to yours.
Pokemon trivia, one's back to back.
Yeah, two Pokemon trivia. Yeah, see, some people might be, they go to one and they're like, okay, I got my fill of it, I don't want to go to the other one. So while that could be up to the con to schedule that better, just be aware of like, hey, if I go to this con and I'm noticing that there's already this panel happening, maybe I shouldn't try to apply with the same panel, because it might be happening, yeah.
Regarding that, as panelists, do you have say in your panels?
Yep, so in the application process, you do give your availability, so they will let you choose if it's Fridays, if you want it Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, and then they allow you to pick a time range as well, so usually it's, I think they give it a couple blocks, and you can click which ones are available. So for Improv D&D, we said we wanted on a Friday, Saturday, and then usually in the evening times, and then for Paneling 101, we specifically said we wanted it on Sunday in the noon-ish times. And then they will usually, they do their best to fit it within those blocks based off of everyone. It's a giant puzzle they have to figure out. And even after, when they send out the acceptances and they tell you, here's your day and time, you can still reach out to them and be like, hey, this either doesn't work, or I don't like this time, or whatever your reason is, and they will try to do their best to fix it if they can. There was ones in Improv D&D, I think it was here at Yankee, our panel was at midnight to 2, and we were like, oh, yeah, I know I said we could do that, but I don't want to do that. And they were able to fix it and put it at a different time. But then you might have to sacrifice where you might not be in a big enough room, or you might be in a smaller room, and something like that. There is usually some give and take. But yes, you do get to pick where, and not where, but the time.
Yeah, you at least get to make a request. So,
Yeah. And they usually do ask too, like, are you planning to be in the at least for Ampy, are you planning to be in the cosplay combat chest? Are you planning to be in the masquerade? Are you planning to, do you have a booth in the vendor hall? So then they will even take those things into consideration as well.
Sure. I'll watch.
Can we basically be able to do like, I don't know, like watch parties or something like that? Like would we be able to like, I don't know, like put out like a YouTube video or something?
So that becomes a copyright issue, and then that comes down to the convention itself. So a lot of conventions will have like a watch party where they'll show like the first 3 episodes of an anime, or they'll have like almost like a theater room like off to the side where you can watch animes. But it does come down to that they have the rights to do that through some type of partnership. When it comes down to then a YouTube video,
I mean, if you ask for permission and you get a go-ahead in writing, I mean, I don't see why not. But you do. I mean, it's kind of similar with watch parties for like anime as well. When they do it at conventions, everything is just like you have to go through the proper channels and you have to ask for permission.
yeah. So if you are just trying to show a clip of something, you're more likely to get away with it.
Oh yeah, probably.
Yeah, there should
That should be fair use.
Yeah, it depends on how long you want to show and what you want to show. If it's your own YouTube video, then by all means go for it. Yeah, but yeah, you got a question?
Yeah. So when it comes to entertainment style panels,
Yeah.
what are some formulas that you found have been pretty popular and successful as far as attendance?
Yeah, actually, I have a slide actually for that, kind of towards the end, or at least to like things to be aware of. But I'll talk about it now just so I don't forget. It's as simple as location, time, and well, actually, I'm gonna just say those 2 right away. Location and time. So Improv D&D we had on Friday. It was during the dinner rush, so we had very low attendance. I mean, very low for us. Where even the MP, the staff were like, this doesn't make sense. It has to be because it's dinner time. So being aware of that, being aware of the location of your room. If your room is located like almost like panel room 10, which is way off to the side, or even the main program room, which is hidden, sometimes that's a lot harder for people to hear. Because if you have an entertainment panel, you want the doors open, you want people to hear it and to come to be like, hey, what's going on in there? And then they come in, they sit down, and they engage. But if you're hidden off to the side, that does make it a little bit difficult. And then also the time of day, knowing your audience. So our 18 plus panel, we want that at night. If we have an 18 plus panel during the day, you're not going to get as many people. You might get still a good amount, but the 18 plus panels would work at best at night. And then also being aware of, which is out of your control, but what other panels are happening at the exact same time as yours. Because we ran into this, I think, at C2E2, where we had our panel going on, but then the entire like Lord of the Rings cast had a huge giant panel in the main hall. And of course, people are going to go to that. Like, I don't expect them to come see us, but that's out of our control, and it's something we just have to deal with. And if it's possible, the worst you can do is ask the convention, hey, can we move the time? And then they say no, and then you're still in the exact same spot that you were before. But if you're able to identify that as early as possible when they do have the schedules, or maybe even when they do post it, ask them, hey, is there any conflicting big other panels with it? Just be aware of those things. So it might be things out of your control, but those are the big factors, at least, that I've been able to identify.
Oh, awesome. That's good to know, especially the timing thing.
Mhm.
So, I ran a panel last year, and the second half of it landed during the cosplay masquerade.
Yes.
Like, where did everybody?
Yep,
went
the
to having,
masquerade.
Like 30 people to having like 7 people.
Yeah, we did ColossicCon North this past year, November, December, and halfway through our panel is when the rave in the wave started, and that's the huge rave that's in the water park. So half the people just ended up leaving halfway through because they want to go to that.
Yeah, and I feel like if I'm not mistaken, we had a panel that was competing with the Mark Hamill panel.
Yes, there was a fan of Chicago. There was Mark Hamill and Hayden Christensen together.
Yeah.
They were competing with us, so of course we know we're not
Yeah,
going to beat
can't.
that.
Your
Can't.
panel this year also ended right
Mhm.
around the time of the race.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
they
yeah.
purposely placed us at a good time so it wouldn't overlap with the raid. So we were very grateful for that.
There was a few people that were late to the race.
Mhm.
because they were-
Yeah, and luckily when things like that, when they do go for long hours, some people are okay getting to it late. Also, if you're there early on time, you're just gonna have to sit in line and wait outside, so you might as well at least be at something you're entertained for and then go when the line's done. But back to making it unique. That's fine if we get off topic, so again, feel free to keep asking questions. Avoid the overdone topics, like I kind of said. Unless you have a twist, try to find any type of way to just make it a little bit more unique in any way. I don't know what that could be. It always depends on what your panel is. But the biggest thing that you can do is go to conventions and go to panels and see what people are doing and see what people aren't doing. We like to think, don't try to make a panel that you've seen before. Make something that you've wanted to see before. Because if you've wanted to see it before, I'm sure somebody else has wanted to see it before. And now you're going to bring more attraction to it.
And this is actually kind of like that what you're saying right there is kind of like also like an additional to like your question just a moment ago. Is that trying to take the perspective of the audience that you're going to have is really helpful for like maximizing how much you enjoy it. Try to put yourself in the audience's shoes and be like, okay, if I was going to this panel right now, how would I be feeling about what I'm going to be doing at the panel? I mean, it's one of those things that I think that's really helped us improve the quality of our show by giving that some thought. It's like one of those things where it like sounds simple, but you'd be shocked at how few people actually do it. And so it really can elevate you to that next level as far as
If you do a lecture style panel, that's similar to this, you don't need to worry about making it entertaining, but I think the key is more making it engaging. Because if I am up here and I'm talking and I'm very monotone, and this is how I go through the entire panel, yes, you're gonna fall asleep, it's gonna be boring, you're not gonna be entertained. And I know this mic is hot and the door is open, and I want to be a lot more excited and more animated, but I also know it's early too, and you all are more listening, and I don't think I need to get your attention. So I'm able to adapt though to what the audience is. That's I think what helps. But keeping things engaging. If this was wireless, I would be out there on the floor.
Yeah,
with you
honestly,
right
it is kind of a shame that these aren't, because that we would just.
Yeah, I would like to just sit there with you and have this more just be like a more collaborative discussion instead of us talking towards you and you just listening. That's why we're trying to encourage you guys to feel free to ask questions at any time. So this can be more of a back and forth. So for building the panel though, solo versus group panels, there are the pros and the cons. I mean, the pros being is that you don't have to do all the heavy lifting yourself. You have people to talk to and collaborate with. You can run ideas past each other. It just helps take the load off you. But then
I do have a point with that though. So we all remember in school when we had group projects, right? And there was that one kid who did everything, and then everybody else forgot about the assignment. So that is the opposite though, where a group can either make or break an event for you. So do keep that in mind that if you decide to do it with a group, to like choose somewhat carefully, because if you do it with a group, you're now relying on somebody to share that workload, and if they don't, then you're scrambling to try to get everything done.
If the guy with pens
Yeah, but fair point. No, it's a good example.
Yeah, and something too that we want to talk about too is we are not perfect at what we do. We run into mistakes all the time, and even with improv and everything that we've done, there's always going to be negatives that happen. So don't think that we are not trying to be up on our high horse, being like, yeah, we're the ones who know how to do this. We know how to do this. We're amazing. No, we mess up all the time. But then also, like the cons, kind of like Michael was saying, with being in a group panel, there might be times where you rely on someone and then you're the one ending up doing all the work. But assigning specific tasks to people and delegating is going to be your best friend. I have trouble delegating, but that's something I got to work on. But I'm aware of it. But try to delegate as much as possible, and it'll really help you lighten the load. But also, there could be then the pros of doing things solo is you have full control of everything, and you can do whatever you want. But don't be afraid to, even if you're doing it by yourself, still share it with a friend. Even if it's like, hey, I want to run through my panel, and I just need someone to like look at it. Can you sit on a Zoom call, or can you come to my house and just listen to me, just so even I can practice it, or you can give me feedback.
And as far as this next point, because this will be a good demonstration of it, is dividing the speaking time. Okay, so, and this is the thing, it does not have to be proportional or equal. Like, so Anthony is a fantastic speaker, clearly. So generally speaking, when it comes to things like this, I like to take him the lead, or I'll have him take the lead, and I'll usually chime in if I have something that I think would be a good additional point. Or occasionally if I just feel like it's a good time to jump in. But
you can think about it of like how sports commentators work. There is someone who's doing a play-by-play and going over everything, and then there's usually your color commentary person who is just like adding in the little extras and filling in space and giving information when it's necessary. That's kind of how this is working right now.
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. And so just kind of like, the best way to kind of figure this aspect of it out to me is to do those practice runs, because you'll naturally get a feel for like how, like obviously if you're not being given any time to speak at all, that's obviously kind of an issue. I mean, if it's one of those things where like you're shy and you don't want to like interrupt or interject, it's usually a good idea to kind of hash out to like have your co-host like direct a question every once in a while to you directly to give you that space to jump in. But as far as it goes for us, we just kind of pick up on the dips and dives of the conversation.
Yeah, having someone that you know well and can work well with,
yeah, helps a
helps
lot.
a lot. And then scripting it versus freeform.
Right. So
This isn't scripted.
It is not.
We have an
scripted.
outline, but that's an
I'm horrible about scripts. I personally prefer to do almost everything off the cuff. Honestly, before we had put any of this stuff together with the slides or anything else, I would have fully intended to just get up here and just talk. Because that's what started this all. We just had one really long conversation one time about paneling, and we were like, you know, this has been a really interesting conversation. We should just do this as a panel.
Yeah, it's information that we think people could benefit from.
But this is where he and I are different, because Anthony's good at organizing thoughts and putting them down into a more concrete,
I got more concrete
yeah, right.
block of text up here.
Right. So that's kind of where, but like you'll kind of figure out for yourself what your particular style is. I think it's always worthwhile to have an outline. Anybody, just so that you have something to reference back to if you get caught in a lull and you're like, ah man, I forgot where I was going with that.
Yeah.
It'll help you get back on track.
Or I mean, like if you are stage fright, or if you are a little bit nervous, if it's your first time, there's no problem in having a script or anything. Or maybe you just have a lot of like analytical information and it's kind of hard to remember it all.
Yeah.
Then that's fine, just having a script too. Or if it is bullet points or whatever. And like, again, we've been doing this for years. I mean, our first Improv D&D, I had a whole packet of everything I needed to say. But we were in the opening ceremonies on Friday, and I still had a script with all my, I had a like actual word for word script of everything I was supposed to say and as well, and we were going back and forth with that. And there was nothing wrong with that. The MC for the opening ceremonies, the beauty of a man he was, he still had his script too, and went and was going through that word by word when he needed to, and there's nothing wrong with that. If you have slides, clips, props for your panels, just make sure you know what you need. We have slides, we have handouts, things like that. It's just having an idea of what you want and what you think could be beneficial for it. You might think at one point, maybe I don't need it, maybe I do, and then maybe that's where you test it. One panel you do it with it, one panel you do it without it, and you see what goes well from there. But at the end of the day, you find what's most comfortable and most realistic for you. Sometimes, I mean, we paid for these things to be printed out. It's not in your budget to pay to get these things printed out. So then you don't have to do it, and that's totally fine. If it's most comfortable for you to be with people because then you have someone to work with and talk to, then that's great. But if you would rather just be fully in control and speak your mind by yourself, by all means do it. All right, now the application process. Maybe you've got your idea and everything all sorted out, ready to go. Now you gotta apply for your convention. First, actually even before any of this, you gotta figure out what convention you're going to. That's actually something that we're even still working on. We've done Anime Milwaukee, C2E2, Fan Expo, Anime Central. There's still more conventions that we would like to go to, but we need to find. Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
The conventions that also might be interested in having us or interested in having Improv D&D. One year we tested out Gen Con. It went fine, but it's not maybe for us. I mean, the cons that you go to are going to probably be the ones that you want to share something at because you're already familiar with how they run, how they work, and you're familiar with the content that they probably have. But then once you figure that out, of course you need to title your panel. We actually applied to do this panel last year and it didn't get accepted, and we called it How To Panel. And I don't know, maybe that panel title wasn't interesting enough. So we applied again this year and we called it Paneling 101. Maybe the title was more catchy? I don't know. It got you guys in the door, so that's already something. But yeah, keep it catchy, but also keep it appropriate. Yeah, you got a question?
Something that I've learned doing my own panels is making sure the branding is very clear.
Yes.
For example, I've done a lot of Pokemon panels before. I always make sure that the word Pokemon is in the title.
Yes.
So that way when someone's skimming through the schedule, they glance at it, they see Pokemon, and they know it's for them.
Exactly, yeah. Or even if they're just doing a search and they see Pokemon, great. And that's exactly why we put D&D in the title, so people know what D&D is. Or even maybe they're just looking for comedy or improv, it's right there too. And that also can come to them when you're writing out your stand-up description. Making sure you kind of have those key, catchy words that are related to your topic, but then also so people fully understand what it is, while also still being a little bit curious on, oh, I should go check that out. And even with Improv D&D, a lot of people still get a little bit confused on what it is, but we try to make it as understandable as possible about that it's interactive, it's the crowd that's part of it, and it's not just us up on stage performing Dungeons and Dragons.
Yeah, and as far as the title goes, I mean, having Pokemon in the title for a Pokemon themed panel, having D&D for a D&D themed panel, those sorts of readily identifiable things, it's just a difference in strategy because there are some panels that don't do this, like they don't use a popular franchise as like the catch. Like the Nami eating crab legs in a Victorian bathtub. Obviously, I mean,
It's a catchy title, and
it's a catchy title, but it has nothing to do with any particular brand or franchise or series or anything like that per se. You could put any character in there, and it probably would have worked.
Yeah.
And that's just kind of more just like that's something that honestly I don't think we've ever seen anything like that.
No.
So like it worked, it got us to go. And so it's not just I have to use a popular series in order to get people interested in coming to the panel. It's not necessarily required.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I mean, if you are doing a workshop on how to sew, how to do leather work, and it can just be leatherworking 101, and then that's fine. Like that's totally fine because then it's you know what it is, and it's 101. Usually, there's a good understanding that means it's a beginner course for teaching people how to do it. But you don't want to be calling it something like leatherworking the craft, and I don't know. And then people are like, what does that mean? What could that possibly be about? Yeah, they might read the description, but if your description doesn't read it or make sense, then they're not gonna come. Some people don't read the descriptions at all. They just look at the titles, and if it catches them, then they go on. You also gotta gotta remember a lot of times people are seeing these on the sides of their phone. So if you have a really, really, really long title, it might get cut off,
And it probably will.
or it's gonna get shrunk really small. But just having those quick, smaller titles are gonna be a lot more beneficial to you. Also submit early too. The more time you give yourself after, I think also helps. And it shows the convention center that, or just the convention, not the center, the convention, it's like, oh, okay, these people are timely. They're already on top of it. So that's like, okay, maybe these are things we want to work with because they're able to turn things in time early, and they're not submitting it the last minute, or they're not submitting it after the thing has already been closed. Yeah.
What is the start time?
So that you're gonna have to watch their social media accounts. They will always put out a post though for every convention being like, application process is open, and then they usually on those applications and they say the window closes at this day, month, year. So that's the easiest way. Sometimes I don't see it, and I'm just always checking the website because I know this is a convention I want to go to. So I'm just, all right, are you open now? Are you open now? It's usually, if the convention is in, say, August, they usually are probably opening that application process 6 months beforehand, around that time. Some other conventions might do it a little bit earlier or might do it a little bit later. It really depends on the size of the convention. So ones like C2E2 that are these huge big corporations that also run New York Comic Con, so I think this is PopCon that runs that. They have a much different process compared to Anime Milwaukee, which is all volunteer run. So that's why the best thing is to follow their social medias because they will just make a post about it.
So it's not like I could find it and have a email for next year right now.
Yeah. So they have, you could email them and you'll probably just get an email being like, hey, thanks for your email, but we'll be opening up the process.
Yeah, if you try to skip the line, as it were, you're gonna get discouraged, because they just simply won't accept it.
Yeah, especially like if you were planning out, like after today, or even maybe a couple days, they're just gonna want to relax and not do anything.
Yeah, and, right, there you go.
And I know like Anime Milwaukee, again, this is volunteer, I've emailed them being like, hey, I need this thing changed. I think like even this panel was scheduled to be at the wrong time at first, so I emailed them like, hey, can this be changed? It's supposed to be this time. And then I got an email, they're like, oh yeah, we'll get to work on that. I'm at my day job right now though, so I'm gonna have to do it at night. So like these people are also like working other things too, so you just have to be patient with that as well. I also do want to point to, you cannot read it at all, and I apologize. But something that we do at Quest Bros with our Improv D&D is that we have an actual full document that is our panel submission, and the way this works is it is my copy-paste for any application. So I have a document that includes our title, our the description for the panel, and then it's got a lot of like extra details too about like how the panels run, panels that we've been to in the past, our attendance rates, tech needs, size needs, the times that we run these things, references from other panels and the staff there that we've worked with. So that way when I get to the application process, I'm not trying to remember what I said in the last one. I can literally just go to this document and copy and paste it over time and time again. And then as your panel evolves, of course, you update your document. But it helps it, I think, just make it a lot easier for yourself so you don't have to keep writing it over and over again, just having a copy paste. All right, so now for presentation tips and audience engagement. So, who here has a stage fright? And there's nothing wrong with that. You raised your hand, that's already great right there. But for those who do have stage fright, you know, it's hard for me to talk about, Michael, I'm gonna let you talk about this. I'm a music major, so I am a performer.
Yeah, you're extroverted, so like, I don't think you can relate to the struggle, but I used to be a lot more nervous about getting up and speaking in front of people, but I think the thing that really has helped me kind of to get past that is it's gotten much easier once I realized that all the people in the audience are just like me. Like, we are all fans of pretty much the same things. You know, we're all here to, you know, have a good time. You know, most of you, when we talk to you, are just the chillest people ever.
Yeah.
And so that helps tremendously because I'm not thinking of it as, oh my God, all these people here are judging me right now. I'm thinking about it as, oh my God, these people are here and they care enough to even listen to what I have to say. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
I think that helps a lot.
Yeah.
I don't get stage fright, but I do get, we'll say, stage stress, where I'm just like stressing on becoming the best performance possible.
Okay, sure.
A good mentality shift that's helped me not have that problem is not consider the panels I run as performances. It's playtime.
Sure.
It's just playing with a bunch of random strangers.
Sure.
Yeah.
Right. That's
Exactly. Yeah.
The big thing for this kind of thing is everyone here is the same kind of weird you are.
Yeah,
Right.
exactly. Yeah, we all are here at an anime convention. We already at least have one thing in common.
And I mean that in the most endearing way.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
100%. Yeah, for sure.
But then when it comes to your presentation skills, energy is always going to be better than perfection.
Yes.
I could be out here speaking everything wrong, but if I'm excited and I'm here ready to present, it's going to be great. And I think you're going to be more engaged and you're going to be more excited about it instead of I was up here making sure and I was speaking very monotone and slow and quiet and making sure I had everything perfect. You're not going to be engaged. It's not going to be memorable. like Improv D&D yesterday. It was a wild food. I don't even remember half of it. And I messed up plenty of times. I forgot a lot of things to say, but I had the energy, and you guys had a great time for those who were there.
It's much easier to simply just gloss over a mistake than to be that measured and cautious and on guard for making a slip up. That's really been our experience, is to just roll with it.
Yeah. And on top of that too, then like talking with the audience and not at them. Again, that's why we wanted to keep this more engaging and interactive with you guys. Because who here wants to go back to school? Right? No one wants to go back to school. This is not a class. We don't want this to be like a classroom where you're sitting in a lecture and then at the end you've got your homework, you've got your little handouts, and then you're going to walk out and then you're going to go home for the rest of your day and forget about it. No, we want this to be something that you can actually take something from and be engaged with it the entire time.
Yeah, and obviously we acknowledge that not everybody wants to have a conversation. Some people just want to chill, relax, and listen to the panel, and that's totally fine. But we do appreciate all of you who do speak back to us, because that's really like what we're here to do.
That also helps us to know that you're listening.
Yeah,
and you're paying
right,
attention
yes,
to.
absolutely.
Your body language, voice, and pacing. So again, if you've seen us at Improv D&D, we're walking back and forth. We're constantly moving within the crowd. If my mic was wired, like we said before, if our mics were wireless right now, we would just be sitting in the audience, honestly, with you and having that more connective interaction. But still, if you're stuck behind the stage, if you speak with your hands, that's great. But also just making sure you're not just closed off and just like hiding behind the microphone or hiding behind the computer monitor. Like you're here, you want to be open to everyone, and you want everyone to know that you're excited to have them here. And again, your voice too, making sure you're just speaking clearly, you're speaking loudly, you're speaking into your microphone, making sure everyone can hear as much as possible. There is a difference though between engaging versus interactive. Improv D&D is very interactive. This is more engaging, or at least we're trying to make it more engaging than interactive. I'm not throwing stuff at you guys and having you interact as much, but I've tried to incorporate some things for you to interact with, whether it's the handouts or QR codes or whatever. Or I've even at least have a PowerPoint presentation for you to at least engage with. So just being able to identify, to making sure you know if you want to be engaging or if you want to be interactive. I think that can also be a very important aspect, but it also, I can't say what that looks like because it depends on what your panel is and what specifically you want to talk about, because it'll be different for everyone.
Confidence without ego. This is kind of an interesting one. Honestly, I don't think it's really something I see all that often, but it can happen when you are really, really proficient in what it is you're talking about. To kind of take pride in it is understandable, but it can go to an excessive degree where it does kind of get condescending, and that's kind of a tough line to walk. I think the best thing and an approach for something like that is to probably just to try to remember what it was like when you were first getting into whatever it is you're talking about and how it felt, and trying to recapture that for the people you're speaking to.
And I think if you're coming into something with a huge ego and you're on the stance of like, I am right, this is the way it is, nothing can change my mind, and I'm here to just tell you how it is.
Yeah.
I already think you're doing it wrong. These are meant to be engaging and interactive and having fun with people, and that's why I'm not up here being like, this is how you run panels, this is what you need to do, this is everything that needs to go on. No, I know I'm wrong. Someone could stand up right now and just curse me out right now and say I'm wrong about everything. And I'd be like, thanks man, I love the feedback. Anyways, but as long as you just aren't egotistical about whatever you're talking about, just be aware that somebody else is going to have a different experience and perspective than you, and I think you'll be fine. Okay. Also, practice. I know it's a stereotypical thing to say. Practice your panels as much as you can. For Paneling 101, we did a practice with our entire team in my basement. We just ran through it. Even if we're all just sitting on the couch and just kind of lightly talking it through, we still did a practice. Improv D&D, we do a practice run of it at least 1 week before every single show we do, just to make sure we have any kinks worked out or that we're comfortable with it. Even if we've been doing it for 7 or 8 years, we still practice it every single time.
There's so much detail.
There is a lot of derailment, and that you can't really practice for. Yeah, and that is improv in itself, but we at least practice.
We have done like show practices in the sense that like, okay, Jared, me, and Anthony will like take one of the roles and just go through it, and we'll just all come up with something collectively ourselves that it's like, we'll each come up with an idea for each of the roles. And then whichever one we as the group think is the funniest. Okay, you're a wizard, you're a fighter.
You're the last person
and you're the
left,
last
so-
person left, so
so
you
you
go.
Basically, just play.
So
Yeah.
yes, right. And in a way, yeah, we're basically just doing like a D&D one shot.
And since we know what it's like from our perspective, then we know kind of what curveballs to throw to get us ready to prepare for.
Right.
And sometimes it just does become fun, because we are at the end of the day best friends. But it is still practice for the DM, because you need to always have that improvisational skills to come up with things on the fly. So coming up with new ideas that he's never heard of is always going to help. Or we've been working on our B team where I DM and then Jared actually takes over when I do. So now I need practice to do my improv skills a little bit more. And so anything like that. So even if you are doing something with a group, maybe you're practicing switching up your roles a little bit. That's something that you can always practice. Engaging with the audience, asking questions. I know we've been trying to ask questions for you guys as well. Inviting reactions and interactions as well. Again, that's what we've been doing here. If you do have quiet crowds, I have to say that you're gonna get nervous and you're gonna think that no one cares, no one's listening, that no one is paying attention. And that's the best thing that you can do is just keep going. You're gonna feel it in your heart, you're gonna feel it in your stomach, but please just keep going. And I promise you it'll be okay. There are some people that are shy and they just don't want to speak or they don't want to say anything, and that's okay. And not to call the people that are leaving right now, but sometimes people will leave, and that's okay.
Thanks for coming.
Yeah, so thank you for coming. I mean, I'm glad you were here for what you were, even if you were just here to hang out and just find a place to
Totally
sit.
fine.
That's
we
great.
totally get it.
But don't take anything personally, because
Right.
again, you don't know what people are going through. Maybe maybe people have to go to the bathroom, and then they're just getting up to go to the bathroom. But yeah, just don't be afraid of the quiet crowds. Honestly, if they're still sitting there, that's great. You all could leave at any time, and that's up to you, and that's your decision. But you're here, and that's great. Preparing for curveballs though, it depends on the panel, it depends when your panel is. Sometimes if you have a late night 18+ panel, you're gonna get the drunk people.
Yeah.
How do you handle that?
To the best of your ability.
Yeah.
Honestly, curveballs are curveballs for a reason. I mean, if there was a way to prepare for every conceivable curveball, I mean, wow, that'd be crazy. Please come talk to us.
Yeah, but like, I mean, so say someone that does come in and they're drunk and they're
Right.
causing a ruckus.
Yeah.
Maybe engage with them, be like, hey, that's funny, can you take a seat? You try and redirect them as much as possible. You don't try and call them out directly and make it about them, because now you're helping them cause a scene, and that's what they want, is to cause a scene. It's just redirection is really gonna be your best friend. And if it gets to a point where, hey, things are out of control and if it's dangerous, if anyone feels unsafe, or if it's just completely distracting, there is nothing wrong with you stopping, getting up, and go finding a staff member. And do not be afraid to do that if you need to. Of course, if you have people, then you could have someone else go through so your audience is not here. But also if there's one person here, I'm sure your crowd will end up just like joining forces with you, and they'll like boo the guy out of the room, and you'll be okay. But nobody is usually coming to your panels to cause an issue.
No, I don't think we've ever had to do anything that extreme. We have certainly had some people that were particularly rambunctious in the crowd who would just keep repeating, shouting out the same joke way too loudly, and it just was not resonating. Nobody was vibing with it or whatever.
Then you call it out. I hear it. I hear what you're saying. That's funny, but this is funnier or something. I don't know. That's for us.
Well, yeah, but I
Whatever.
mean, the other thing is that honestly, sometimes the right answer is to just ignore it.
Yeah.
Because eventually, most people run out of steam and then they just stop.
Yeah.
Because that's happened a couple of times
Yeah.
for sure.
Does anyone-
And as far as people being drunk, honestly, yeah, redirecting the energy is important. And even just being politely just asking, settle down a little bit. Sometimes that works.
Yeah.
Honestly.
So panel fails and what we've learned. So we have failed a lot. So I also want to give some examples of how we've failed so people understand. Maybe they have also a similar experience where they have failed and they're like, oh, okay, that's how I could cut back on that. So one of our first shows at Anime Magic, our panel was like midnight on Saturday for like an hour and a half. Now, Anime Magic had a paper schedule and it was on Saturday, but it ended at 11. And so our panel wasn't shown on the Saturday schedule at all. It was shown on the Sunday schedule, technically. So now people have no idea. Some people are just there for Saturday. So in that moment, what do? Crap, no one is gonna know where we are. So we had to kind of promote it ourselves. We had to find pieces of paper and make signs that said Improv D&D in this room. We had to just talk to people and go around. And then we learned, hey, we informed staff, hey, this is an issue that you guys have on your scheduling. Make sure that this is better for the future. And really in that moment, that's all you can do. It's what's done is done, and you just have to work as best as you can. We didn't have a good turnout because of it, but to people that did turn out, it was a great experience, and we actually made some great community members because of it.
Honestly, for how late it was and how scuffed like the postage was, honestly, I think we did fairly okay. I mean, it was like something like 25, 30.
Yeah, this is also like a convention that happened in 2021. It was like the first convention to happen since the pandemic had started. So it was already
Turnout was super.
It was already wild. C2E2 last year, we asked them for 5 microphones. They gave us 2. So I was like, okay, crap. We need everyone on stage to have a microphone to talk, and we need our people in front to have a microphone to talk. What do we do in that situation? I had a phone number that they had given the panelists. Be like, hey, if we need tech issues, contact this number. Contacted them, and they were like, you're shit out of luck, and you gotta just figure it out. So I'm like, crap. So from there, you figure it out. All right, so we're gonna have 1 microphone on stage. Everyone is just gonna be passing it back and forth, and then we're gonna have 1 microphone up front, and that person will have that microphone at least. So just also know too, you can ask questions. Sometimes if a convention center has tech people, right here, there's a card here that says for events, for immediate audiovisual assistance, please dial this phone number from any house phone. There's no, I don't know, there's a house phone in here. Or just the 414 number here that you can contact. And they can get you the help that you need. So if you needed, if maybe the mics weren't working at all, this cable was cut, there's a mic missing, there are resources for you to get help. Sometimes too, there's also staff outside the doors that are watching panels. Go ahead of time, ask them for help, and also get to your panels early as possible so you can check the room and make sure that things are the way they should be. That's how we were able to figure out at C2E2, hey, we don't have our tech things because we were there an hour, 30 minutes early, and we were able to, well, we didn't get to figure it out, but we figured out what to do. Gen Con we had, was our first Gen Con. We thought, hey, it's a Dungeons and Dragons convention. People are gonna love Improv D&D. They did not want to interact with it at all.
Yeah, really, really interesting how you would think that a tabletop gaming convention would have been like a hook, line, and sinker for one of our shows. Yeah, but it's really interesting because I think it has to do with the kind of people that generally tend to play tabletop games are kind of interestingly reserved, but also very like rigid and rules oriented by the nature of what tabletop games are like. And I know that because my brother-in-law is exactly that guy. And so it's a different crowd than we were used to at most of the conventions we went to, where people at anime conventions are,
You might have better look at GameCon in Madison.
honestly, yes.
Yeah, I've heard about that, yeah, and we've been told to, we should check that one out.
You will. Alex Cameron's the organizer.
Okay.
The main guy.
Oh, cool.
You know, funny enough, we actually inquired. They didn't seem terribly interested in having.
They don't really do panels.
Yeah,
of any sort.
they don't. And just in general, I think
they're starting to.
Yeah, so we talked with the owner for a while, and then I'm gonna fully honest, he ghosted us. But after we explained everything, it just didn't seem like.
I just don't think that we were quite what he was looking for, because I think he really wants to keep it as a classic gaming convention.
Yeah.
Which is totally fair and understandable.
And we'll go back to the Gen Con thing. Something that we did learn, we had never been to Gen Con before.
It's also true.
Before we actually performed at Gen Con, and that was partly our issue.
Yeah, it was a learning experience.
It was very much a learning experience, and that was one thing that we didn't know is how, maybe it's because the Gen Con people are this way. We also didn't understand how the ticketed for events worked, and there was Gen Con is a whole beast in itself.
Yes, it is.
So that's why we say if you are going to apply to a con, maybe go to that con first.
Yeah, it's not a bad idea.
It's not a bad idea. And eventually, if you go to enough, you kind of get the gist of how all of them run. But Gen Con specifically runs so differently to how other cons run. So it was very much something that we needed to learn. But again, don't fear your flops. Also, if anyone wants to hear more horror stories, I can probably come up with more for every single con that we've been to. So feel free to come ask later. But don't fear any way that you flop. You will learn more from your failures than you will your successes.
Yeah, 100%.
It's the most cliche saying.
Yeah,
ever,
but it's
it's
true
100%
though,
true.
because honestly, you will not improve in any measurable way if you don't take some amount of risks or try new things. Even though it might not succeed, just because that's been like the main driver of most of our improvement is just by doing things and trying things and seeing what worked and what didn't.
Yeah. Yeah, but again, at the end of the day, it takes time and it takes your dedication. If you want it to succeed, keep at it, keep growing, and keep trying new things, and it'll go great. And if you find your formula, what works, and you want to stay with that, there's nothing wrong with just keep doing the same thing. But just be aware that if someone maybe goes to it one year and then they come to it the next year, we have friends. They're called Level 21. They do intermediate DMing tips, or like how to keep a game running long term. And their panel is pretty much the same thing every year. But they do incorporate little changes. They update their PowerPoint. They add pictures or anything like that. So even if it's just little things like that, you're not really changing your panel. That's totally fine. But just be aware that just keep that dedication towards it of what you want to do, what you want to achieve. So for promotion and growth, the biggest thing is use social media as much as possible.
Yep.
We make graphics for every single convention that we've gone to. I have some up at the front. If anyone ever wants a physical example, we have some up front so you can take with you that we use here in Milwaukee. We actually even take those graphics and we turn them into handouts. So that way, when we're walking around cons, if we hear someone be like, "Oh, Improv D&D," I'm like, "Hey, here you go." If some of us might see that we have a giant sign that we wear that is our promotional sign. And that has been a huge success too, because it brings people awareness that might not be looking in the schedule or might go past it. So having any type of promotional stuff in the con is always going to help.
Yeah, and that's kind of something I'd like to just touch on as well, because as much as the social media is really important, and a lot of people are using it. So for instance, I'm one of those people that doesn't really look at a whole lot of social media for events I'm going to. I prefer to just look around. So for people like me, if I was just a random con goer, I would probably only heard about our panel if I saw a sign or an announcement or like one of the little like flyers that we've left around the convention or whatnot. So, I mean, there are plenty of people who just straight up don't care enough to look, at their social medias for the conventions. So it is worthwhile to do a dual approach.
Yeah, as much as you can. It's really just getting the word out as much as possible. And if you're not good at graphic design, that's totally fine. There's websites out there like Canva that basically all you have to do is kind of just drag and drop pictures onto it. The graphic that I have for Paneling 101, I use in Canva, and I just found I typed in like panel presentation corporate, and I just changed some colors on it, added our branding on it, and there we go.
Yeah, and I mean, for starting out, it does not need to look this clean cut and professional. So like, if you tried putting something like this together and you can't, it's fine. Something is better than nothing, because I mean, you're just trying to get some amount of attention on whatever it is you're posting.
Also, bring little goodies if you can. We have got badge ribbons. Everyone loves badge ribbons, especially at AnimeCon. So if you haven't grabbed a badge ribbon, feel free to come grab one up at the front. But while it sounds like you're selling out and buying your audience, honestly, sometimes that's not a bad idea. We tell people, we gave away dice during our panels, and we've offered the badge ribbons, and we also then use that to build our subscriber count for our YouTube channel that we're trying to grow. It's like, well, if you subscribe to us, you can get a badge ribbon. And that stuff helps. Yeah.
Have you ever seen or heard of a panel giving out prizes that are items from the vendor hall and promoting those vendors?
Yes. So We do, we have Quest Pros has a sponsor called Robinson Supplies, and when we go to C2E2, that is a convention that they go to as well. So they will, while it's a little bit different because they will sponsor us like here, when we see them, they will they're like, hey, we know you guys, we want you to give this away during a panel, during your panel. We actually had a panel at Colossal Con North where we were walking around and they're like, hey, don't know who you guys are, but you're Dungeons and Dragons and we're a dice thing. Would you want to just give away one of your sets at our thing and just shout us out? We're like, that's cool. We are legally, I cannot, but people will just, if you're promoting things a lot like that, and if you have like a branding and they know things, you can ask if they want to do that. It depends on the booth themselves and if they're able to. But again, you ask and they say no, you're in no different of a spot.
I'd say it's worth going around and at least asking. If you're going to pitch that idea to different exhibitors, though, it is worthwhile to have some pre-established metric for how many people generally go to your panel, and to have a more concrete plan about how you want to go about it in mind.
Because you need to sell yourself.
You need to kind of sell yourself and kind of exemplify that, it's worth their time. Because just like you don't want anybody to waste your time, they don't want anybody to waste their time.
I just want to quickly mention that while I was out there, I noticed that they had a panel office over there.
Yes.
Yep. I mean, that's kind of like our liaison.
Yep. So those are the people that are in charge. So at least at AMKey, different conventions have different not obligations, things that you can get for hosting a panel. So AMKey, they allow you to get a badge for the next year, but some panels or some conventions, you can get a badge for that panel. You get a badge for that convention by hosting a panel. AMKey has had issues in the past where people will say, I'm going to host a panel. They get their free badge and then they never host a panel, and now they got a free weekend to AMKey. So now AMKey's like, all right, you need to go check in, tell them, hey, I'm here, I'm going to be hosting my panel, and then they mark it down and everything like that. And then if you have any issues or anything with that, that's where you go to the panel office.
It would be an actor thing, we'll give you your badge, your badge for next year after.
Yeah, so for AMKey, the way they do it, they just send you a code and then you can just do it digitally online. So it is nice like that. But yeah, so something to be aware of too is the rewards or the compensation that you can get for hosting a panel. Some conventions like Anime Magic just give you $15, but then there's others that will give you a full weekend pass. And depending on the convention, I don't know which conventions are giving us more because of what we do, or if that's just their standard. So there's a video game music con that offered us even a travel stipend because they knew we were coming out of state.
Right.
But I don't know if that's standard.
Your mileage will vary.
Yes. Yeah, but if you have,
Justifiable.
Yeah. It's better to just expect the standard, which is usually that your badges will be paid for.
Yeah.
It's usually.
honestly, and for us, if our badges aren't even covered, sometimes it's not worth going because
No.
it takes, we're sometimes missing work, having to travel, need to get our own hotel, and if we're not even going to make, if we have to then pay to go to that convention, to work at that convention for a couple hours, I'm sorry, I'm not going. But so networking and growth. This is kind of a networking opportunity right here. Talk to other panelists and the staff too. A lot of times, again, they got the panel office. When you go to check in, go to those people, thank them for letting you be at the convention, for allowing for them to allow you to present your panel, and so just start building that repertoire with you. We actually ran into some. We were talking to some of the other booths in the vendor hall that hosts or that were for other cons, and they were like, "Oh yeah, we know you guys because we've heard your name throughout the things." So we've already started building those relationships with people just by talking to them, introducing ourselves, and don't be afraid to do that. I know it's hard to talk to someone randomly, but honestly, that networking is really going to be.
Yeah.
That's where it starts.
And even still, it's just really informative to try to talk to staff members about things with the conventions, because we've learned quite a bit about how
You learn more about how the conventions run and what they want.
And that helps a
so much. And like they'll tell you if you ask
And they
them a
will,
question.
yeah, like, I mean, they never get asked questions, so they're more than happy to talk
Yeah,
about
'cause
it.
it's
And
not-
it's no skin off their teeth, because most of the time, like, even in the exhibitors hall, when there's, like, various, like, booths for other conventions,
Mhm.
they're just sitting there most of the time, and most people are just walking right by them. So if you go out of your way to talk to them, they'll tell you pretty much whatever you want within reason.
Yeah. And then also, like, if you're going to a panel, you like that panel, talk to the people after it. Get some information from them. Maybe that's how you start your network and stuff. Come talk to us after if you want more information, you want to hear more stories from us, or maybe we can help you connect with other people as well. Also, get feedback from your attendees. We didn't do it this year, but we've done it in the past where at the end of our panels, we'll put up a QR code and be like, hey, here's a survey. Can you fill it out and let us know your experience, if you had a good time, how you found out about us. And now you can take that analytics and that information and pass it on to the con and be like, hey, this is how I did, and this isn't even me just like making it up. This is what people actually said about it.
Yeah, this is super valuable when you're first starting out, because it accelerates your, like,
Credibility.
refining.
Yeah.
Well, and yeah, there's a credibility aspect of it, but even just more so like, okay, at the very beginning, your panel is basically an unmolded ball of clay, and as you continue to carve and chip away at it, it takes a more refined shape.
Yeah.
And so these feedbacks and reviews will help that get there quicker.
Yeah, because at the end of the day, who are they going to want to take? A panel? They might have two panels with doing similar things. Are they going to take the ones that have evidence and examples behind it, or are they going to take the one that just that doesn't have anything? They're probably going to take the one that has references and things that they can refer back to. Also, join Discords and Facebook pages or any groups that you can. I know Anime Milwaukee has a Facebook page. They have a Discord. There's, I think, an AMP like 21 plus Discord, and any way that you can find to share your information is always going to help. And if you don't make it to a con, or even if you do, reapply with your improved and new feedback. And again, don't be afraid to self-promote yourself. I know if you went to Improv D&D, I take a whole segment in the middle, and I'm like, I'm going to talk about ourselves right now. And we've done it here plenty. But if you want something and you want it to succeed, you got to sell it, because if no one knows about it, then no one's gonna know. So this is a little bit for people who have already had a panel established, and this is more on growing and evolving your panels more. Again, kind of what we talked about before, with building a panel brand. For us, for Improv D&D, we've made logos for it. We have a branding for it so people can identify with it. Because also, if you run into a panel that is similar, people might start to think, oh, is that the same people that ran this before? Or is this a completely different group and I don't know? We've actually had people tell us, like, hey, there's this convention that's running a panel that's basically the title the same thing as yours, the description is basically the same as yours. Is this you? And now we have our branding and trademarks in the works to like actually be like, hey, no, that is not us, and people can identify. Having a consistency too, so then people can, if they know what to expect. If you have something that may be more entertaining, they know what to come to, they know what they want. Or if you are telling something that's more informative, it's still consistent, and they know what information is going to be presented to them. As we said before, track your panel data as much as possible. We've got the example of when we did what you said. It's what day did you attend? How long were you there? How did you find out about us? If you make mistakes, don't repeat your mistakes. Try to learn from them. Expand beyond one convention too. Maybe you keep coming to AMP, and maybe you've been going to other conventions. It's like, all right, maybe it's time to try another convention as well. And also, your panel goals that you've established, revisit them. Have you been achieving that every single time? All right, great. That doesn't need to be a goal anymore. Maybe make a new goal now so you have something new to reach towards. Sure. Things to consider, we talked about this earlier, someone asked a question about, and these are things that we have actually been taking into consideration just this weekend for us. What day and time was your panel? Maybe you didn't have the attendance you like. Well, maybe it's because it's a Sunday. Sunday, there's not a lot of people here. Saturday are your prime days. So if you want a lot of people, Saturdays are probably going to want to be the day that you want to host your panels. And Friday, while they might not be as popular as Saturday, they might be more popular than Sunday, but also be aware of that. There's also the time. People sometimes still work on the Friday of a con, so they're not coming until like 6 o'clock. If you're having a 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock panel, you might get some people still, but it might not be as many people as it could be in the afternoon. Were there any similar panels? as we said before, make sure, just try to identify if that's a similar thing that's happening.
And this is actually kind of a good point for me because I had thought about this earlier. So for as far as it goes for similar panels, this is also a worthwhile thing to think about too when you're applying to a convention, right? Look and see what, like try to find out what panels they had last year, and that'll give you some idea of what kind of panels they're interested in having in the first place. And then you can kind of dissect from there if you think the convention would be interested in your panel. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always worth trying anyway, but it'll give you an idea of what sort of things they're looking for.
Yeah, what they like and what has already been there. Some conventions will have their panels that you can find like past versions of it. So feel free to look, especially if they have physical ones. There's usually someone that has like digitized it. Yeah, feel free to dissect it and work kind of backwards for that. As we said before too, what is happening at the same time as your panel? If there is the big headlining celebrities that are having a panel at the same time as yours, you might get people that are completely not even related to that or don't even like that fandom at all, and they'll still come to yours. But if your fandom, if I'm having an Improv D&D panel and all of Critical Role is meeting at the same time, people are not going to be coming to my panel.
Yeah, so if you ever get like a weird fluke where it's like normally you expect like 50 people to show up and you've only got like 15 and something big like that is going on, that's why it's good to look at it because it's like, okay, well,
It's not your fault.
It's not your fault, right?
It's
It
out
can
of
be
your control.
really discouraging to see like a room that's like barren for people. So keeping that situational awareness of what else is going on at the same time as your panel is really worthwhile.
Yeah, and then lastly, where's your room located? As we said, the main programming room and panel room 10 is all the way around the corner, out of anyone's eyes, and it's very difficult. Fan Expo Chicago, and well, it's any convention center that takes place in the Rosemont Center in Illinois. There is a hallway that is like all the way, either one that's curves all the way in the back, or one that's just kind of, I don't know, it's just in a weird spot, and it's very far back and past the bathrooms, and so people don't even go that far back. And if they can't even find your room because the sign is all the way down there, it's going to be more difficult for them to come to it. And also now, if you have an engaging panel and people are laughing and cheering, it might be too far away for people to hear. So just be aware too, your room location might be an issue on why your panel isn't succeeding to the same level as that you would want it to succeed.
Yeah, and even to like the point like this year with our main event on Friday, it's kind of interesting because where they put registration was where the main programming stage has been in previous years. And so in order to get to the main programming stage, you have to go around that bend. And that threw a ton of people off. So many people who were walking around with the sign were like, hey, where the heck is it?
Yeah, and at least
Can't
though,
find it.
Anime Milwaukee was aware of it too, because the first day, maybe even the first 2 days, there was no like signage, but I think like yesterday or today we were walking and we see now in bright neon pink tape, they have put on the floor main programming this direction. So they learned that, oh, this is kind of in a hidden spot. We need to make it more visible. So if the con is also aware of it, then great, then that's, at least you know that they know. But if they don't know, let them know. If you have that information, if no one knows, no one's going to do anything about it.
Well, and it also just honestly, it makes you look more professional when you do notice those kinds of details.
It shows that you care.
Yes, it shows that you care and that you're aware.
And then also they love feedback, whether it is positive or negative. Like they want to
It
know.
just makes their job.
Everyone
easier.
wants the convention
as long
to
as
be-
you're like saying it politely. They always appreciate.
Yeah, they want the convention to be successful for everyone in every way, shape, or form. So let them know as much as possible. All right, that was a lot of talking.
It was a lot of talking.
Does anyone have any questions off the top of their heads? Or anything? Yeah.
Do you have any tips for like joining an existing panel? Like, for example, I was invited this year to join an existing panel for
Sure.
next year because I go to that panel a lot and I always have feedback.
Mhm.
So they invited me to join. Do you have any tips for someone in that position?
Sure, yeah.
Like, for example, I'm kind of nervous starting
Mhm.
going into that
Right.
situation.
Yeah, so I mean, communication is always going to be the number one most important thing. So I would just say, as long as you keep talking with them, find out too, what are their goals? What do they want out of this panel? And I'm sure you've been to it plenty of times, so you kind of have an idea of what it already is. But then you are just trying to then create an experience for someone that was just like you. Almost it's like you're looking back, it's almost like a full circle moment now. So you're just trying to recreate that magic, whatever that it was to you, whatever made you want to always go back to that panel, whatever attracted you to that. I think try to just channel that and see if you can recreate that in that same way. And then, yeah, really just communicating with those people, staying up to date with whatever they're working on, however they're progressing with it. If they're practicing with them and really just keeping that connection so you aren't you're not out of the loop at the end of the day.
And I think in a case like that, whether they're local to you or not, try to get to know them beyond the conventions. You know, try to, in a way, treat it more like getting introduced to a friend group, really. Because if you can, you know, ingratiate yourself and sort of like form a more personal bond with them, then I think that will make it significantly easier to get involved and to feel more comfortable, you know. And I mean, you know, in a way that's kind of, I guess, what happened with us in a roundabout way. It wasn't intentional per se, because I was the last person to join the Quest Bros, and I was introduced by Matthew there at the back, in that stunning jacket, by the way. Sorry, I just had to throw that in there. But so for me, it was, you know, that was about when we got out of college.
Yeah, so about 6 years ago.
Yeah, something like that. And so for me, that was, you know, something that I hadn't had to introduce myself to a friend group in ages at that point. But now that we have known each other for so long, doing things like this is seamless, easy, it's comfortable.
Yeah.
And so that's the familiarity will bring that comfortability.
Great question. Anybody else have any questions about anything?
I wanted to give some advice. I've done panels twice. I did one this year, and then a long time ago at a different convention. I usually cover this as I have this year as press, so that gave me a better idea of what the timelines were for sure. So I did a thing yesterday. I was very careful with the words for my panel.
Yeah.
It was restoring media using, I used the term machine learning instead of being more, because it was more accurate and less triggering than the other term for it. But in any case, I did learn a few things from the time before. I did try to intersperse in questions, you know, to the audience, if it was just like a show of hands or something like that. I am doing a similar presentation next month at Midwest Gaming Classic.
Okay.
So I've learned some things through that. One thing I did is if your slides are going to require some close attention from the audience, make sure you put a QR code with a link to them in there. That's one thing I did with this time, so that helped out a lot. So I did kind of just say, you got the screen, it might look big here, but you really need to take a look at it. And also, they're not able to dim the lights in the front to make things easier to read on the screen there.
Yeah.
So talk to the folks at facilities beforehand. Chances are they have a good chance that they've dealt with something like that. And the other thing is, which I expected, is that because it is a very technical topic, it was a fairly small audience, similar to this one, just because it is a very meta thing to do with the thing. There's only so many people who are interested, while seriously interested in doing their own panel. And similar thing for restoring media. People are interested in the results, but not necessarily the process.
Right.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah, that's great.
Yeah.
What's your perspective on, because you mentioned technique, and I've gone to panels before where they can't get the projector to work or the sound isn't working. Is it an option to bring your own speaker, bring your own laptop, bring your own projector, or is that something that cons don't want to do?
I think the cons technically, if I have to speak from the cons perspective, they don't want you to do that. They have this company CTI, which is like a union-based people that come and do this. So like I couldn't even like unplug this microphone or like move it or anything like that without maybe getting in trouble. Even on our panel yesterday, the microphone was taped to the floor, and I wanted to be like, hey, can I take the tape off so I can move more? And they're like, no, you cannot do that. So it can become an issue like that. However, I can more comfortably say that you could probably bring your own microphone, depending on the mixing boards that are, I don't even know where this mixing board is. It's probably behind the podium, behind the screen. But we have brought our own microphones because we would use wireless lapel microphones so we could freely walk around. But some conventions like C2E2, they lock their soundboard so you can't add anything to it. You can't even adjust levels. So that's something that you might have to just ask the con ahead of time.
So communication is key with that. You just need to check in on their specific rules.
Yes. Colossal Con North, I had told them, I was like, oh, we're going to be bringing 2 microphones. And then when we got there, their tech person was like, oh, did you bring your microphones? And I was like, I completely forgot about that we were going to bring those. But they were at least aware of it, and they were ready for us to do that. So yeah, just reach out ahead of time.
Check in early. And in Milwaukee, they were pretty good on the application process. They asked, hey, we're going to need an adapter if you're showing something off your laptop or tablet or something like that. They were pretty good about making sure. And in Milwaukee, they've obviously gotten better as time is going on, but they have things down pretty well at this point.
Yeah, and if it's not in the application process to like say something, there's usually like a notes or comment section at the end. You can say it in there like, I will need this, or can I have this? Just let them know. Again, the more information they have, the better it's going to be. Any other questions? If you do have any questions, you want to just come talk to us directly, don't share it out loud, feel free to do so. But so just our last final tips. Remember, start small. Don't go shooting for the moon yet, because that's always a little bit too intimidating. But just start. Starting is always the most difficult part. Expect your imperfections. It's going to happen. No one is going to get perfect 100% on the first try. And that's what makes us human, and that's where you learn. Because panels are all learning experiences. But at the end of the day, be yourself, be you, and then you'll do great. But that is all that we have. We're just wrapping up on time anyways. So if you would like, you can follow the Quest Bros. There's a QR code. I will be posting this PowerPoint, and we did record it, so we will be having it available. So if anyone does want to refer back to it at any point, you can. But if this QR code takes you to our link tree, where you can find all of our social medias, you can find everything about us. The business cards up front too also have that QR code, so if you don't want to scan it now and just take it later and check it out, you can do that. But if you want to subscribe to us on YouTube, that's pretty cool. That's where we like to do most of our things. But feel free to come talk to us after the panel. We'll be sticking around, or if we're not right here, we'll probably just be right outside in the hallway. If you want to share your panel pitch worksheet with us and kind of get some feedback on it, we'd be more than happy to talk about it with you. Or you can also reach out to us after the con. We have a Discord. You can reach out to us on Discord. You can reach out to us DMing us on Facebook or Instagram, or we have an email on there, and you can feel free to email us about any questions you have along the way. But if anyone else had any other questions? No? All right, well, thank you all for coming. We hope you learned something.